So one of the biggest changes in Office 2010 is the new XML file format. You probably started to see a lot of documents come out now in the docx format or XLSX format. This is the new XML based document structure. In the Atlas Copco environment, for the purposes of the migration, we cannot have some people using the new file version and other people still on the 2003 version, as they'll be unable to open the new formatted documents. So what we've done globally is we've enforced a setting which will force Microsoft Office to save all of your files by default in the legacy 2003 mode. So for the purposes and the duration of the migration, all of your documents in 2010 will save in the original .doc 2003 format. At the end of the migration, we can globally change the group policy setting to enable the 2010 XML file format. There's not a big amount of difference. Some of the new formatting features are lost within the old file format, but for the majority of it, it won't make much difference to the end users. One of the biggest differences in the XML file structure is the security improvements. So in the past, there's been a lot of room for exploits and vulnerabilities in Microsoft Office documents. So Microsoft have put quite a lot of time and effort into improving the security around the Office documents. In particular, they've introduced Office file validation. When you open new file documents, Microsoft Office will analyze the document, make sure it conforms to the standard Microsoft Office file format. If you're opening an earlier version of Microsoft Office files, it will convert it into an XML file format to strip out any possible exploit code that's sitting in the document and then convert it back to the old version. It'll do this instantly as you open it, just to remove any of the code that might be causing problems. They've introduced file block, which is a registry value key that will block access to opening extremely old file types such as WordPerfect 97 and earlier documents. And they've also introduced ActiveX Killbit. Protected view, you may have already seen. When you open a document from an internet zone or from an email attachment, you'll see a little bar, a message bar appear across the top of the screen in Office that says Enable Editing. And until you click Enable Editing, you're not able to save the document or print it or edit it. So when you open a document and it launches in protected view, it actually launches a separate copy of the Word executable or the Excel executable in a sandbox environment. A sandbox environment means it has no access to any of the system devices. It can't have access to the hard disk, can't have access to your printer, and it doesn't have access to the registry or any other parts. So that's why you can't edit it until you click Enable. Once you click Enable Editing, it quickly relaunches the document in the main executable file so that you're able to print, save, etc. Now, once you click Enable Editing once, for that particular document, it will never ask you again. Microsoft's theory and decision on this is twofold. Their reasoning is that if you click Enable Editing once, obviously you're going to trust the document on subsequent attempts to open it. And similarly, if you click Enable once and you infect your computer with a virus, enabling it on subsequent attempts isn't going to make much difference. They've also improved the user experience by introducing the new backstage view, the ribbon, and the message bar on the top. In the past, a lot of users have external printers to produce PDFs. Now what Microsoft has done is, in an attempt to reduce the requirement for third-party applications to be installed, they've now introduced the ability to create a PDF document directly within Microsoft Office. So if you have other applications such as financial applications that still require PDF reports to be created, you may still need these third-party print applications. But if it's within Microsoft Office now, they're able to produce PDFs natively. Some of the new formatting and improved themes and fonts and styles have also been introduced in Office 2010. There's a lot of new styles. You've probably started to see documents come out with these new fonts. Those are some of the features that are best saved in the new XML file structures. Within PowerPoint and Microsoft Word, there are now photo editing tools. Again, this is to try and reduce the need for third-party tools to be installed by the Service Desk, such as expensive photo editing software or video editing software. So you're able to do color correction, level correction, and other basic photo editing functions. Within PowerPoint, you're able to edit videos as well, do basic cropping and effects on your videos. They've also introduced improved animations and shadows and bevel effects for PowerPoint presentations as well. So that's it for Microsoft Office. The customizations for the Atlas Copco environment. Active Directory is 2003 native mode within Atlas. That means that it only is aware of software and servers up to 2003 and Windows XP. What we've done is we have upgraded the central group policy store within Active Directory by uploading the latest ADMX templates for Windows 7, IE9 and Office 2010. This will enable us to have the extra features within group policy to manage these new devices. It won't make any changes to the devices immediately. All it means is that these extra policy definitions exist, which give us the control to granularly define policies for Windows 7 globally. Group policy and group policy preferences have been, a set of policies have been defined for Windows 7 within the Atlas Copco environment. This includes some existing settings such as configuring your proxy files for IE9 and defining the default file format settings to save in legacy mode for Microsoft Office file types, as we discussed. These policies have also been used to enforce security settings such as event logging and so forth. In the future, the new extended group policy preferences features in Windows 7 enable you to do some really clever things like item level targeting and applying settings only once and not reapplying them. This is particularly useful for environments where there's a desire to apply a corporate standard desktop image with a corporate background, but at the end of the day you still have people that want to replace their backgrounds with their own pictures. So rather than enforcing these settings, you can apply them once and then not reapply them. Printers are one of the biggest differences within the Windows 7 64-bit upgrade program. That's because all print servers now need to have 64-bit print drivers available for them for a 64-bit client to connect. So there's a piece of work underway already within the Atlas environment to uplift all of the print server queues and upgrade all of the drivers to include 64-bit drivers. It's very important that when new printers are purchased for the business that they have 64-bit driver support for Windows 7 and Server 2003 or later, but it must be 64-bit. Similarly, when these drivers are installed, it's really important that the 32-bit driver is installed as well as the 64-bit driver. Even if you've only got a 64-bit client connecting to these print queues, you must have the 32-bit driver installed as well, because the 64-bit driver builds upon the 32-bit driver and relies on part of the 32-bit spooling files. There's a document that's been written available from Atlas on how to approach the technical differences within your print server and how to upgrade all the drivers on your print servers. You can find that at the end of this presentation. The login scripts within the Atlas environment, there was no big changes. The login scripts have been left alone. However, the drive mappings and the printer connections have been moved into group policy preferences. So while we haven't modified the login script at all, the login script is not going to be called by Windows 7, and so there's going to be no changes to the login script. Deployment and migration approach within the Atlas environment. The build and image has been developed by the project team, which is in combination with CSS and the Atlas ASAP office in Hemel Hempstead, just outside of London. The testing has all been done by the project team, and the user acceptance testing is being carried out by the ASAP regional leads. All the communications have started to go out now. You've probably started to see a few of them. If you're part of the confidence tests group, then you'll start to see considerably more as well. These communications will continue to come out throughout the project to keep everyone updated and informed. The user training is done by the Microsoft e-learning material. There is 3 different levels available for Office: basic, standard and advanced courses, as well as a Windows 7 basic course. The Service Desk training again is being done by this session and the e-learning. More material is available and has been uploaded to the internal Atlas LMS portal. The deployment approach for new devices, we've created a Dell custom factory image. So when users order new hardware and new hardware is procured, the hardware will arrive with the Dell Gold image already loaded on it. So out of the box you'll get the customization experience. The image will already be loaded and it'll be ready to go. Migration approach for existing devices. Throughout the confidence test, we've defined a process which you'll see in the following slides to image the computer to an external hard disk or a server depending on the site, run the semantic PC transplant tool which will copy the user settings off, it'll apply the gold image, and then it will reload the user settings around that image. During the confidence test phase, applications won't be reinstalled. Now, the confidence test users are only IT users, so they'll be well within their means to install your own applications after the image has been applied. That's because at the moment the application reinstallation is just being finalized, and for the pilot stage the exact same process will apply, but after the gold image is applied and the PCT tool is used to reinstate all the user settings, the applications will also be reinstalled afterwards. The general deployment to all users is to be confirmed. We're going to take any lessons learnt from the confidence and pilot test phases and feed those back into the general deployment process. So this is the deployment process. You can have a look at it offline. It's pretty much what I was just describing. You boot the computer from a USB device, you deploy the image, reboot, it runs a script to take all the user settings off, and at the end you can see the PCT tool which reinstates all the user settings and the applications on the device. The support for Windows 7 in the main sites is going to be done by yourself, the Service Desk staff, first and second line support. Third line support is going to be managed by the hypercare team in the Hemel office, which is our engineers and the project team. The satellite sites is likely to be very much the same, although depending on the location of the site, some of the work might be done remotely, and first and second line support will be done by the closest hub site Service Desk staff. Third line support again will be done by the same hypercare team in the Hemel office, and if you've got any issues you can just escalate any issues to them. And again, general deployment, we're going to take lessons learned and feedback from you to improve the process for the general deployment. So we ask for your help throughout this process to feedback any improvements or suggestions that you have, anything that you've learned throughout the process. It would be really helpful for us to improve it going forward. So there's a bit of prerequisite work that needs to be done within the Atlas environment before Windows 7 can be deployed. The Active Directory system needs to be uplifted with the new policy definitions. That's been completed now. Per site, the group policies need to be created and tested for each region. That's also being completed at the moment. The print servers at each site also need to be upgraded with all your print drivers. So at the moment your regional areas should be underway upgrading your print drivers on all your print servers and recreating your print queues. Where possible, it's best to create a new print queue with the new print drivers for 2 reasons. One, we're moving to a universal print driver to reduce the amount of drivers that you have to install. Secondly, you don't really want to modify existing print queues which could have a negative effect on existing XP devices that haven't been migrated yet. And the other piece of work that the regions will be doing currently, you'll be creating your own group policies with your agreed global settings and any regional